They got satisfied and then they went away. Because of which, the text will say, they went away with unruffled mind. Calmness of mind cannot reasonably come unless one is convinced of the thing sought for. This is why they did not say, this has not been understood by us. They did not say so. They have understood. All right, you go. Your unruffled mind, you go like that. The students who had understood wrongly were not to be neglected. So he himself asked, what do you see? The Guru asked. And for the removal of the wrong understanding, he will say, well adorned, etc. If you are well adorned, that also is well adorned. Reflection also. Then they said, O Venerable Sir, this self of ours is as a reflection in its fullness from the hair to the tip of the nail. We see our reflections in the plate full of water, together with hair, nail, just as our own cells are possessed of hair, nail, etc. That is the knowledge they got at that time. To them Prajapati said, being well adorned, well attired, clean, look into the plate full of water. Both of them becoming well adorned, well attired and clean, looked into the plate full of water. To them Prajapati said, what do you see? And he says, they said, O Venerable Sir, just we are thus well adorned, well attired and clean, so also are these two reflections well adorned, well attired and clean. This is the self, said he. This is immortal, fearless. This is Brahman. They went away with satisfied minds. After this teaching was over, the Shankara's commentary says, they understood idam, this, in that very way, yatha eva, exactly as they had done before. Just as we are well adorned, so also are these selves in the reflection. Thus they became firmer in their wrong conviction. After having spoken of the characteristics of the self, in that self which has no sin, when they too were again in search of its fuller knowledge, the self was directly pointed out, saying, the person that is seen in the eye. And although, after that, for the removal of their wrong understanding of this instruction, the illustration of seeing well-decorated person in the plate full of water was given, their wrong understanding, which was different from the knowledge of the self spoken of, was not removed. Hence, thinking that due to some defect in themselves, their power of discriminating knowledge has become restricted, having at the same time in his own mind the self that was really intended to be spoken of, Prajapati said, as before, this is the self, Erat Amritam, this is immortal, this is fearless, this is Brahman. But he did not speak of the self that was understood by them. That he did not say. He thought, by hearing the characteristics of the self that is, etc., hearing of the person in the eye, reasoning presented in the illustration, a plate full of water, they will become purified. By recollecting all my words again and again, through the removal of the hindrances, their discrimination about the self will arise spontaneously. So, for avoiding creation of sorrow in their hearts, which might result from asking them to continue their celibacy again, he did not mind even their going away with a conviction that they had attained their goal. Both are going. They have attained their goal. Tauha, they too, Indra and Virochana, Prabhraja Tuhu, went away, Shanta Hridayaha, with calm hearts, with satisfied minds, with the idea of having attained their goal. But the word Shama in Shanta is not used in its literal sense of serenity, because if they had serenity, then their wrong understanding would have been removed. Now comes the next. Looking at them, Prajapati said, they are going away without attaining the self and without realizing it. Those who will hold on to this mystic teaching, be they gods or demons, will become defeated. This is a wrong understanding. This is not good at all. He was telling within himself. He who was Virochana went to the demons, his own followers. Verily, with a satisfied mind, to them he spoke of this mystic teaching, the self is to be adored in the world. What is mystic teaching? The Atman is to be adored in the world. So which is the Atman? This body. Well dressed, well adorned, keep it fine, that body. That is the Atman. That is his teaching. This self is to be depended upon, attended upon. One attains both the worlds, this as well as that, by adoring the self and attending upon it. According to his understanding, he conveyed it to the demons. And they all followed that teaching. They too, Indra and Virochana, Shankara says, they were kings, attached to enjoyments. They went away. Prajapati thought they might forget what had been said. And in order to avoid creating sorrow in their hearts by a direct talk, he said indirectly, while Anvekshya, looking at them at a distance, as they were going away, he did so with the idea that as the words free from sin, etc., had reached their ears, so also these words would reach them. Prajapati said, without attaining the self as possessed of the qualities already stated, without realizing it, without making it an object of their direct knowledge, having an opposite conviction, these Indra and Virochana are going away. Therefore, those who, be they gods or demons, without distinction, will hold on to this mystic teaching. Those who will possess such a mystic teaching, the two, be they gods or demons, those who will become possessed of this kind of knowledge, this conviction, what will they become? They will become defeated. The meaning is that being deflected from, having strayed from the path leading to liberation, they will be destroyed. This is a wrong notion. With that they are satisfied and they are going. This is what is going to happen. Of the two kings, gods and the demons, who are going home, he who was Virochana, the king of demons, went away to the demons. Verily, with a satisfied mind, having gone to them, this is the demons, he gave them this teaching, thinking of the body as the self. This genetic apparatus is the self, that one. By our father, Prajapati, it has been said that the self is nothing else but the body. Therefore, this Atma, Eva, very self, which is the body, is to be adorned here in this world. Similarly, it is to be attended upon by adoring and attending upon the self indeed here in this world. One attains both the worlds. The idea of the king was full that all the worlds and all the desirable things are comprised within this world and in the next. This is how Virochana understood, and he taught his people this teaching. Body is the self. Take care of it. Make it fine, nice. What you call the materialistic view of life, which you find prominent in the modern period, is there. The first materialist was Virochana, was fully satisfied. Body must be looked after. Vivekananda writes in one letter, in America, the care of the body is tremendous. For repairing nails, there may be 50 instruments. They have discovered many. And of course, painting the face, painting eyes, everything, plenty. How to keep the body as nice as possible. Because body alone is, nothing else is there. That is the materialistic attitude. So, we have it today, but we had it in Virochana. He is the first teacher. This is in that tradition, it comes like that. What happened to Indra? That is very interesting. That is the importance of the remaining story. Therefore, the text says, Tasmad Adya Iha, even today, in this world, regarding a man who does not practice charity, who has no respect, who does not perform sacrifice, they say, alas, he has become a demon, an asura. He is like an asura. Asura philosophy is that. For this mystic knowledge is of the demons. They deck the body of a departed man with things of enjoyment, clothes, decorations, in this way, and they think that they will be conquering the other world verily by this in all parts of the world, the way you deal with a dead body will tell you the nature of the philosophy of the people. In Egypt, a king dies. Everything that the king liked is put into the grave, including women, servants, all. Huge things are there. Similarly, in other places also, the body is the self. Let us unite it properly, protect it properly. Everything must be done with the body. This is the materialistic attitude centered in body consciousness, dehatma buddhi, as they said. Therefore, says even today, therefore, their following continues to exist even today. That Shankara is commenting on the text. Upanishad itself said, Upanishad time also, even today, we have this kind of people. Hence, here in this world, regarding a man, adadadanam, who does not practice charity, etc., they treat the body as their self, make it as nice as possible. Every pie must be spent on this. There is no money left for giving to anybody else. Myself, I must look after. Yes. Perfumes, garlands, food, clothes, and covering the dead body with costly clothes. This philosophy I saw when I was in Sindh. They took me to a town. I was very interested in the experience. A small town. Hindus only, not Muslims. Mostly Hindus in that town. What did I find? A dirty town. Road is dirty, lanes are dirty, no sanitation, nothing is there. But the place where the body is buried or cremated, whatever it be, excellent, heavenly. So after death you get heaven. In life you be in hell. That is the attitude. Our whole attitude, even today, it is so. We make our dead person's place very good. So the body is the most important thing. Yeah. Continues to exist even today. Must provide for him in the next world also. All these are provided there. Exactly Pharaohs in Egypt were provided everything they need for the future. And huge kind of pyramids were built for that purpose. Then, what happened? Now comes the interesting story. Surely, Indra, even before reaching the gods, found this difficulty with this teaching. He had that sattvic mind. And the quotation he is telling, just as when this body is well adorned, then this one, the reflection also is certainly well adorned. When well dressed, it becomes well dressed. When clean, this also becomes clean. In this very way, when this body becomes blind, the reflection becomes blind. When there is running eyes or nose, it also gets running eyes or nose. When this is crippled, it also becomes crippled. In accordance with the destruction of this, it also gets destroyed. I do not find any benefit in this teaching. This discriminative thought came to Indra even before he reached the Devas. That's a beautiful thing. Now you find he will return once again. Say, a part of the idea, yes, explaining which Prajapati had advanced in argument, Sri Shankara, the example of a plate full of water that clashed in the intellect of Indra, because of which he found a defect in accepting the reflection as the self. That cannot be the self. Bhavati, etc., etc. Shankara is commenting upon the whole text in that way. Then comes, so what did Indra do? I must know the true self. He didn't go to the gods at all. He returned back. He came back again with faggots in hand as a brahmachari. To him, Prajapati said, O Indra, now that you went away along with Virojana, satisfied in heart, what is the purpose of your returning? Indra said, Venerable Sir, just as this reflection becomes well adorned, the body is well adorned, it becomes well dressed. When the body is well dressed, becomes clean when it is clean, becomes blind when it is blind also. Eyes or nose running, reflection also does the same thing. In accordance with the destruction of this very body, this reflection gets destroyed. I do not find any benefit in this. So he had a doubt. Doubt is the beginning of all knowledge. Virochana had no doubts. He was satisfied. Indra had doubts. So he returns to the teacher once again, attributing this defect definitely to his looking upon the reflection of the body as the self. Indra said all this. As in the case of Indra, Shankara says, who was recollecting the words of Prajapati about the plate full of water, there occurred even before they reached the gods, the acceptance of the reflection as the self, thinking that to be what the teacher had said, and in this he found a difficulty. It was not so in the case of Virochana. Virochana found no difficulty. What then? There was acceptance of the body itself as the self, and there was not even the finding of a defect in this. Indeed, in the cases of Indra and Virochana, with regard to the power of acquiring knowledge, there was a greater or lesser defect in the form of an obstacle, due to which there was the acceptance of the reflection as the self and the body as the self. Because of lesser defect, Indra accepted with faith the primary meaning of that which is seen, but the other, giving of the meaning of the Upanishad, because of an abundance of defect, figuratively accepted the body, which is the cause of reflection, as this is what was spoken of by Prajapati, etc. Virochana's idea was, as when two pieces of cloth, one blue and the other not blue, are reflected in a mirror, it is said, with regard to the reflection seen, that the blue one is costlier, meaning thereby that the blue cloth causing the reflection is so. Similarly the case here. It is well known that although the word heard may be the same, I heard, we hear, we hearing like that, but the word is the same. Still, its understanding occurs according to the purity or impurity of the hearer's mind. Two people heard the same thing, but they never understood the same thing. According to the mind of the receiver, the subject will be understood in that light. Similarly, in the case of Virochana and Indra, says, as is mentioned in another Upanishad, in the Brihadaranyaka, there is a similar story. Both these, Virochana, Indra, and human beings, all the three, and Shankara comments, all the three are human beings only. With more culture, you become Indra. Less culture, you become Asura. Middle, you become a human being. That's all. Same human being, three different types. The story was, they went to Brahma, Prajapati. He simply taught them three letters, da, he said, and kept quiet. Each one understood, according to one's own samskaras. What did they understand? Da, he said. The Indra, or the Devas, understood damyata, have self-control. Then human beings understood datta, give in charity. Asuras understood dayadvam, be compassionate. According to their own limitations, they understood the teaching. Gods are very, very luxurious. They are fond of this. Let them control themselves a little. Damyata. Human beings are very, very conjuice, very, very, what you call, selfish. They want to share with others. Let them learn how to be charitable. So Damyata, datta. And asuras, what are they? Generally cruel. So let them be dayadvam, develop compassion in their hearts. Then the teacher said, don't you hear? This is the teaching of the clouds. The thundering, they go da in the sky. That is the teaching. Damyata, datta, dayadvam. That story he is quoting here in this context. Just a word. But each one understands according to one's own psychological disposition. That is a profound truth about the human mind. In understanding anything, other auxiliaries, such as reasoning, also function in keeping with a person's mind. He will reason also according to the constitution of his mind. So in this case, Virochana and Indra had two different types of mind. One mind was satisfied with a simple teaching without much trouble to inquire into it. So he went away. never came. Second person had a different mind, a little more culture, sattvic mind, so that mind became dissatisfied. Now this cannot be, this cannot be. I must have misunderstood. Let me go to the teacher once again. So Indra is going there. Now, as the story continues, you will find Indra goes, comes, goes nearly 3 or 4 times, understanding deeper, deeper, deeper. And altogether, Indra lived brahmachari life with the Guru for about 102 years or so. That story will come later. Then the Guru will say that Asura who went, that Virochana who went away satisfied, body is the self, he will create great trouble for humanity. That philosophy is going to be of great trouble to humanity. He made a remark at that time. As if you are dealing with a present day problem. What happened with Indra and Virochana? The Chandogya Upanishad last chapter is contemporary in relevance. We are facing the same problem. You will come to know that when you see the next part, how Indra is being taught deeper, 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 until a spiritual understanding of the word Atman comes to the Indra. Realizes and infinite Atman, ever pure, that's my true nature, not the body, not the mind, not the senses. That understanding will come. We shall deal with it next time when we meet here. Last 2 Sundays I was absent, as announced previously. I returned on 26th night from Calcutta, Kaladi, Tiruvalla, Chingalpet and Madras. Various programs in all these areas went off very well, especially temple dedication at Tiruvalla, a beautiful temple. Large number of people have come. So Madras also, so also Chingalpet, 3,000 to 4,000 students in our schools gathered together, all the teachers, public, and there also I spoke, and everywhere there was very good enthusiasm. In Madras, public lecture, the hall was full of distinguished people, and then we had opening ceremony of a teachers' quarters, living quarters in the Madras students' home in Mylapore. So all these things kept me quite busy, and I have returned not much scathed after all this serious tour. Today we continue the Chandogya Upanishad, last chapter. We have only a few more chapters remaining, and we are coming to the end of the book. Probably next Sunday we may be able to finish this book. We were studying Indra and Virochana, studying under Prajapati, knowledge of Brahman. Virochana was satisfied with the elementary knowledge that the body is the Atman, and he never returned. Indra was not satisfied. How can the body be the Atman? So he returns. And that stage at which we ended last lecture, Indra returns and Prajapati tells him, stay on for another 32 years as a brahmachari here. Then I shall teach you further. That is the instruction given. Already he has lived several years, gone back. Again he has come. Now something is missing in your mind, some impurity. That has to be wiped away. Truth is there, but the mind is not able to realize it. In Virochana's mind was a thick coating of evil and ignorance, and he could not go further. But in the case of Indra, he struggled. Something is wrong, because a lot of thinking is there, a lot of discrimination is there that Indra could do. And so he found every time the teaching is not properly understood, he returns. And the teacher also says, Your mind requires a still more clearing. Then you will understand the truth. What I have stated is stated. It remains. But your understanding must be closer and closer to the truth. This is the text, a very interesting way how a teacher teaches and the student understands in the light of his own mental state, mental samskara. Suppose a pessimist were to hear a teaching, he will take it in a pessimistic light. An optimist will take it in an optimistic light. So much of such conditioning of the human mind regarding a teaching. This is much more true regarding the inner life than the outer nature. Outer nature, at least you can go and see, check up and verify. This is not so easy. And so we see the struggle of Indra to clarify his mind, make it fit to realize the truth as taught by the Guru, by Prajapati. So second time he has come. So the Guru said, you stay another 32 years as a brahmachari. So he remained for another 32 years. Then comes the teaching. The mind is somewhat clear. The teacher says, chapter, that is section 10. Ya esha sapne mahiyamanas cha charati esha atmeti hovacha etad amritam abhayam etad brahmeti. This is the teaching he gave. This one being who moves about in dream is the self. The self is that which moves about in dream as the master of the dream. That's the teaching. This is immortal. This is fearless. This is Brahman. All this is the quality of Brahman, fearlessness, etc. So, hearing this teaching, Indra was satisfied and he went away with a satisfied mind. But even before reaching the gods, he found this difficulty. Already the mind is working on it, the teaching. Aisa ho sakta hai, kaisa ho sakta hai, that kind of questioning, how can that be? So he did not reach the gods. He returned back to Prajapati. Although, this is a type of doubt, although this body that is such becomes blind, this one does not become blind. If the body is blind, the soul appearing in dream need not be blind. Whereas in a reflection in the water, if this is blind, that is also blind. So this is better, no doubt. What he said is something truer. But still difficulties persist. How? Although the body may have running eyes and nose, this one does not have its eyes and nose running. Nor indeed is it tainted by the defects of the body. This is the comparison between the physical self and the self appearing in the dream. To that extent, it is satisfactory. But that is not the last thing. The dream self, is not killed by its physical bodies being killed. Nor does it have running eyes and nose. But they seem to kill this one. They seem to kill this one. They seem to drive him away. This one seems to become the perceiver of unpleasant things in dream. The self in dream can perceive unpleasant dreams. And he can weep as it were. I do not find any benefit in this. This cannot be the self. This cannot be the Atman. I first thought it was all right. I went away. Now I am dissatisfied, so I am going back to the teacher once again for further clarification. Now that is the next step. Prajapati is watching. Very interesting. Students are learning through their own efforts. I am only just a little guide here and there. This is the real type of teaching in higher levels of education. Tadyapretat suptaha. That being so, Prajapati asked him, live for another 32 years. And he returned back He told him, come and stay as a brahmachari for another 32 years. He came back with faggots in hand. That is the symbolic way to go into a teacher with fuel for the sacrifice and all that. He came back. To him, Prajapati said, Indra, now that you went away being satisfied in heart, what is the purpose of your returning? He said, O Venerable Sir, although this body that is such becomes blind, this one in the dream self does not become blind. Although the body may have running eyes and nose, this one does not have its eyes and nose running, nor indeed is it tainted by the defects of this body. This much I understood. It, the dream self, is not killed by its being killed. It does not have running eyes and nose by having running eyes and nose. But they seem to kill him. They seem to drive him away. This one seems to become the perceiver of unpleasant things, as it were. He weeps, as it were. I do not find any benefit in this teaching. He said, O Indra, this is indeed so. But Prajapati merely said, you are right in your conclusion. You have thought well. You have found the limitation of your understanding. You have done well. I shall explain to you this very one again. Live for another 32 years. He lived for another 32 years. How many of us would have done this? Another 32 years. Those who love truth, they will experience any difficulty, but I must have it. The mind is fixed on a thing. No problem can stand on the way. That is an example given here. Indra, coming back again and again, living an austere life, just in search of truth. Truth doesn't come easily. It is not some fruit on the tree which you can just pluck and eat it. It requires hard struggle. And so the Katha Upanishad especially mentions it. Kshurasya dhara nishita dhuratya durgam patastat kavayo vadanti. That path is extremely difficult, hard to tread. So say the sages. It is like walking on the edge of a razor. The famous statement of Katha Upanishad. Kshurasya dhara nishita, sharp edge of a razor. When you walk over it, then you will attain truth. That is the way of this spiritual search. Cheap, easy ways won't get anything. That is one of the things that have ruined our religion. Everything is cheap. Pay 4 annas to a priest, you get your religion. Nothing more you have to worry. Everything has become cheap. Cheap ritual, cheap, somebody does it for you, and you only pay a little money. Everything is over. That kind of religion has become so weak, it cannot stand any of the shocks of life today. We need a little stronger stuff. That's why Swamiji preached the Gita and the Upanishads. Gita, a hero's teaching to another hero, Krishna to Arjuna. Upanishads full of heroic ideas, free, independent. You can think for yourself. This kind of free people must come out of only a free philosophy. Only slaves can come from these petty, cheap philosophies and rituals which we usually do. So now he says, it, the dream self, is not killed even by the killing of this body, unlike the reflection considered as the self. The dream self does not have its eyes and nose running, etc. What was stated in the beginning of the chapter as a mere scriptural text, this does not become deformed by the decrepitude of this body. Atman doesn't become deformed when the body becomes deformed. That is the beginning it was said. That is introduced here for being established through reason. As to that, this dream self does not have the defects of the reflection considered as the self, the water reflection. But they nanti eva enam. They kill him as it were. The word eva is used in the sense of eva, as it were. It is to be understood that some people seem to kill him. Not that they actually kill him, because in all the later sentences, the word eva, as it were, is seen to be used. Eva means as it were. So this is the next teaching that was given. And now comes. If that is so, when it has returned again, he didn't find the subject satisfactory. He actually experiences all sorts of unpleasant things. Now, twice spoken of biologically, he does not understand it properly. The Prajapati thought, I have told him twice, he doesn't understand. Therefore, as before, even now, he has some cause of abstraction. There is something in the mind obstructing. The mirror is not perfectly clean. A little cleanliness has come. Perfect cleanliness has to come. Then only you can see your face. Thinking so, Prajapati ordered him, live for another 32 years for the elimination of that. To him who had lived with us, he had his defect attenuated. Prajapati said, further purity came, 32 years of austere life, mind became purer and purer. Then now Prajapati goes a little deeper. Tadyatraitat suptaha samastaha samprasannaha sapnam na vijanati esha atmeti huvacha etat amritam abhayam etat brahmeti. This is what you know as the methodology of avasthatraya, the three states of waking, dream, sleep. They are universal experiences. So philosophy based on universal experiences is really philosophy. Vedanta did it, especially in Chandogya Upanishad and Kairikas by Gaudapada on that Upanishad. So everybody passes through waking, dream and sleep. That became the basis of a profound philosophy. Imagine 4,000 years ago, we study the nature of dream and still greater nature of deep sleep. What does it mean so far as the truth of man is concerned? Dream study began in the West with Freud, with his interpretation of dreams. Just a little peeping into the mind and found the subconscious behind the conscious, subconscious manifesting in the dream. Deep sleep they have not studied yet. That is the most important subject of study. But more and more, neurology is studying these various states of the mind. But mostly clinically, for clinical purposes, to improve the mind or the nervous system of the patient. But the philosophical inquiry is yet to come. And we have it plenty in these books. In the brihadaranyaka we had, Chandogya of course, then a little in Upanishad, Prashna, and now in this, going on here. Now he says, that being, when one sleeps in such a way that he has all his organs withdrawn and is tranquil, he does not see any dream, then this is the self. This is immortal. This is fearless. This is Brahman. Hearing this, Indra thought, that is correct. I can experience it myself. So he took leave and went away towards Devas. Being satisfied at heart, even before reaching the gods, he found a defect in his understanding. This one surely does not now fully know himself. This self in deep sleep does not surely know himself as I am this one, I am this one. Perfect ignorance reigns there that I did not calculate at that time. Nor does he surely know these creatures. They don't know anything of the world external. He gets lost, as it were. I do not find any benefit in this. Self in sleep, as it is presented, I don't find any benefit in this. Philosophically speaking, sleep is good because it gives us rest for the next day's hard work. That is understood. Just here, as he had done before, here also after saying, I shall speak to you, he said in accordance with his own intention, when one sleeps in such a way, which has been explained before, the person is the seer in the eye. And this one who being adored moves about in dream. It is the same person who suptaha, when asleep, all his organs are withdrawn. He is tranquil. He does not see any dream. This is the self. This is immortal. This is fearless. Indra found difficulty even in this. So, when that difficulty was found, he returned again. Sa samipanihi, punareyaya. With fuel in the hand, he came once again. Tamha Prajapati Ruvacha. To him Prajapati said, Bhagavan, Chanda Hridayaha, Pravrajihi. Indra, with a calm mind, you left this place before, because you felt you had attained the truth. Timichan, Pundaragamaiti, for what purpose have you come back again? He said. Sahovacha, Indra said, Naham Khalu Ayam Bhagava Evam Sampratyatmanam Janati Ayam Ahamasmiti. I do not realize that self in sleep as I am the self. That knowledge is not there. Therefore something is wrong. No eva imani bhutani. No other way, no any of these beings around. What is the state? It is absolute death, absolute dissolution, as it were. Vishwa bhavati. Nahamatra bhogyam pashyami. I don't find any benefit from this understanding. So, right, sir, very good. Then the teacher said, now comes the last stage of Indra's discipleship. Indra said, Evamevesha Magavanniti. What you say is true, Indra. Your conclusion about self in sleep is true. Etam tevate bhuyo anuvyakhyasyami. This subject I shall re-explain to you once again. No eva anyatra etasmat. Yes. Sarancha pancha varshaniti. Continue to stay here for 5 years. The number has reduced now. 32. Now 5 years. 5 years more. That will be enough to remove whatever impurities you have in your mind. He stayed for another 5 years. They became 101 years altogether. These 4 times, 101 years. It is this which people mean when they say, Indra certainly lived in celibacy as a brahmachari in Prajapati's house for 101 years. It has become a saying current at the time of the Upanishad, Indra's discipleship of 101 years. For eliminating that evil, he said, live another 5 years. That will be enough. To that, Uvacha, digressing from the story, the Upanishad says that it is this shown in the text, 32 years, which good people say in the world, that Indra lived as a brahmachari with Prajapati for 101 years. To become a saying in the world. In this way, indeed, through great effort and toil, extending over 101 years, this knowledge of the self, more important than even the position of Indra, was attained by Indra. What is that job, Indra? A president or a vice president of a state, 5 years, and then you are gone. There may be re-election, or you may not be elected at all. So Indra is only a status which can be lost, which can be retained for some time. Knowledge of your own true nature is infinite. Nothing can be taken away from it. That's why he said, this knowledge is far superior to any status that you can get in this world. Indra's status is high, but it is very small compared to the status of a noble Brahman. This we studied in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad in the beginning itself, where it is said that when you realize the Atman, you go beyond the gods, beyond Indra. But therefore the gods are afraid that you may go beyond them.